this.
Dude, we are getting good at this. Damn, Ryan, that was a huge glass of wine. That's an Olivia Pope glass right there.
Who the hell is Olivia Pope?
Scandal?
Brandon.
Come on, B.
I don't know who that is. Who that be?
Hey, Shaylee.
Hi.
How did you hear her?
I could see her
No, you could see her for
Where?
a little.
on the side.
Oh.
I got a Heine, Want to touch the Heine. So hot.
This is super good. Holy crap. Enrique gave me this. I'm guessing it's a Kobe beer. Mamba mode. It's a double IPA, hazy.
That's dope.
I would imagine that it's a Kobe beer. If it's not, then
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. It doesn't say anything about Kobe on here other than it's, purple and gold.
probably licensing issues.
Yeah, I'm guessing. It's really tasty. It's a double IPA.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, I guess let's just do it then, yeah?
Hell yeah.
Boys, let's get to it.
Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. Enjoy the show. Lights, camera, action.
What's up, everybody? We are the Three Amigos and a podcast. I like how last week you guys were wearing tank tops and it was raining out, and this week you guys are wearing sweaters.
I don't know what you want me to tell you.
Consistency, boys.
Well, I'm wearing a tank underneath it, but, you were giving me so much slack last week that I didn't feel like wearing it 2 weeks in a row, so.
Okay. But we're still all wearing hats. You guys like my new hat? Ad sponsor,
nice.
It's FNX Fitness hat.
Where's mine?
At the store.
You got to go buy it.
But you can use our promo code 3amigos for 15% off.
That's pretty cool, though. I like it. It's a sick logo.
I'm actually, I actually like it a lot. Fits really well. But anyways, how's you guys this week?
I've literally worn a hat every day since we've been in quarantine, just so I don't have to do my hair or anything. It's just cover up my mop on the top of my head.
I mean, it's not like you have a lot of hair. You're not just just rocking it normal.
Yeah, but it looks like it. I mean, right now it's kind of flattened, but it looks really stupid if I am not wearing a hat.
Who else is seeing you besides you?
Nobody, but still, it's just
You just don't feel good about yourself?
I just don't want to have wild hair.
Oh man. But yeah, another week of quarantine. How you guys holding up?
It's all right.
Doing all right?
Yeah.
I'm starting to go a little stir crazy because it was like a full week of not leaving the house. So yeah, I was like, oh man, I've just been going on a shit ton of walks. I'm playing the show like crazy. Doing that March to October thing. Padres are at like 100 and something plus win season. I made a trade for Christian Yelich.
Your camera view.
Huh?
Oof. So your camera view looks like they're interviewing after you just got drafted.
That's
like
how
the
I
whole
feel.
camera angle. Yeah.
That's
Is that what you're going for?
Happened?
But so drafted for Christian Yelich, been killing the game. Almost hit for the cycle with Machado the other day. Or yesterday, I was texting Ryan. But, went 4 for 5, 2 home runs. What are you going to do?
You're just wishing one of those home runs just fell in the power alley and just rolled around for a while.
That's what I need to do. I was a triple away.
The usual suspect.
Yeah.
I was telling him, I was like, you got to go to right center.
Just couldn't do it, man.
Yeah.
But you know who's my dude in that game? Emilio Pagan. I'm lights out with him.
Nice. I know.
Lights
I was so excited to see him, and I haven't seen him yet because we're in quarantine.
Yeah. But have you guys done anything? I mean, just kind of hanging out at home.
I've been playing it, man. Definitely been chilling at home,
Yeah.
Yeah. I've
basically.
been the last couple of days I've been going to Enrique's gym at his house, and it's a really like pretty sweet setup there. And I just love working out at my own pace.
Yeah.
When I get my own place, I'm definitely gonna want to have my own home gym for sure.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely the way to go, especially right now.
It's like the only way to go.
Yeah.
I was looking at some of the websites to go like purchase some stuff.
They're all
Just
gone.
just a window shop type thing, and yeah, they're literally gone everywhere. Like there's nothing you can get.
Yeah, even if you try to go on Craigslist for like secondhand stuff, it's through the roof. Like the prices are crazy right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why my AirPods aren't connecting right now. This is really ticking me off.
It would probably be a good time to, like, if you're planning on upgrading your gear, and just unload all your weights and stuff that you have currently. And if you're trying to like get like a fresh whatever you're trying to get, like if you're trying to upgrade to like a nice squat rack or something like that, just sell whatever you have.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And then it probably prime you the second this thing's over. You could probably buy whatever it is with the money that you made off of unloading what you have.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
You get people while they're desperate,
Yeah. It just sounds like you're pissing over there. But yeah, while you guys are staying at home, are you doing anything to stay busy? I know Sarah and I have been doing this super dope Star Wars puzzle.
No.
Oh, right in for us.
I mean, I thankfully started school last week, so I mean that's been keeping me busy.
That's good.
Yeah, that's like a productive thing too. I've been
It's just
watching
all
all the Marvel movies.
Which one?
All the Marvel movies. I've been rewatching all of them.
We have two.
Yeah, I'm almost done. Right now, I am at Ant-Man and Wasp, so I've been flying through this stuff. I've been watching a day.
We just watched Doctor Strange.
That one's I think that one's in my top 5.
It's
Like,
good.
Yeah, I like that one.
It's good.
I think I can firmly say that one's in my top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been doing the same thing, man. It's been brutal. Love it.
Speaking of movies, I sent you guys this little thing. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
There we go.
It was, pick 3. Like that's been a big thing going around. It's like pick 3 with, fast food, candy, movies, whatever. I said that middle row, the Avengers, Dark Knight, Empire. Ryan and I were kind of talking about it too, and it's like, if you had to do 1 through 9, what's your 1 through 9? Could you do it?
Ooh.
Yeah. I would probably go. Is that Infinity War? I love Avenger movies, so I'll go Infinity War. No, I can't do that. Dark Knight, then Infinity War, then Empire Strikes Back, then Jurassic Park, then Inception, then Toy Story, then I would say Goodfellas, and then Space Jam, and then Pulp Fiction.
Wow, Pulp Fiction all the way down there.
I mean, like, I get Pulp Fiction all the way down there. I get it.
Mm.
'Cause I'm not a big Pulp Fiction fan either. I would put Pulp Fiction and Goodfellas towards the bottom. It's just like kind of like before my time. I only watched it like I've only seen both of them like twice, so it's not, that important to me. But I mean, Space Jam? Come on, you were a 90s kid.
I know, man. I saw it was my
Rough that
secret
time.
that I was going to tell you guys earlier. I'm not a huge Space Jam guy. I never have been.
Is it the monsters? Is it the? I mean, how
I
can you hate
never
Jordan?
liked cartoons growing up, and so that whole cross between cartoons and real life was weird to me. And then when I did watch cartoons, I did not watch Bugs Bunny or any of those things. Those characters just annoyed the hell out of me. Even as a
Looney
toddler.
Tunes, yeah.
Aren't a Looney Tunes fan? I mean,
No, I didn't like Looney Tunes. I know it's like the least like from multiple perspectives. Like, oh, you didn't like the Looney Tunes? What kind of crazy kid were you? It's like you don't like Space Jam. It's Michael Jordan. It's like I know it's an unpopular opinion, but it's all the way down there.
all right, we'll live with it. Brandon, what about you?
I mean, my first two. Well, I'm gonna do Avengers: Infinity Wars can be my number one on this list, and then I'm gonna go with Dark Knight, then Inception, then I'm kind of splitting hairs on this one, but Empire Strikes Back and Pulp Fiction, and they could do them in that order. And then I'm probably gonna throw Jurassic Park there as that number 6. I'll probably throw Space Jam at 7, Toy Story, then Goodfellas.
Just Toy Story being so far down there, it's like, did you hate your childhood?
No, I like
Jesus.
it. It's just I don't think it deserves to be in the company of these other movies. I definitely put it above Goodfellas, but
I would
I
say
like Space Jam.
Toy
And
Story
plus, I'm
is probably
I'm
like,
not gonna put a kid movie ahead of some of these other movies. I'm not a kid anymore.
I'm just saying Toy Story is probably like one of the greatest franchises. They're like, what do you call that? Like series, like movie series out there.
To be honest, the first one is the only one that I've like really like. I'm not really into any of the other ones.
Damn.
Like I've seen the second and the third one, and then I have no interest in seeing the newest one that just came out.
For Toy Story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched the newest one yet either, to be honest with you.
All right, for me, I'm going Empire. That's my favorite one out of the Star Wars saga. Oh, we lost Ryan.
Yeah. He didn't like what you just said.
He'll come back. So I'm doing Empire 1, Avengers 2, The Dark Knight 3. Then I'd probably go Jurassic Park, Toy Story, Space Jam, Inception, Pulp Fiction, Goodfellas.
Damn. Okay.
Just because it's like Space Jam and Toy Story, those are classics. Like
They are classics. I'm not going to disagree. To be honest, let's be straight up here. All these are great movies.
Yeah.
Like
None of them are like you don't belong.
Yeah, they're all should be regarded as top movies, and they're all essentially American classics. So
with Inception,
you can't throw Avengers as a classic because it's too new, I think. But
yeah, like Inception could easily climb this list so fast for me. It's a great movie. I've seen it multiple times, and it's one of those movies when I watch it. If I would have watched this sometime this year, instantly I would have been like, oh, yep, Inception. Because it's just like a great movie, but after a while I just forget about it, and like the storyline of it seems confusing and fake.
The crazy thing is it's such a great movie, and it's one of those few movies that they didn't end up creating more movies out of.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's pretty cool in itself right there, is the fact that they didn't, Christopher Nolan didn't sell out and just make a bunch more Inception movies when he could have. And you could say the same with the Dark Knight trilogy. I thought all three of them were fantastic movies. And yeah, the guy knows when to stop. I don't think he's one of those guys who's chasing the dollar. I think he cares more about creating masterpieces more than anything else.
Yeah. Though the behind the scenes filming of Inception 2 is unreal. Like
I haven't seen any of that stuff.
Look it up on YouTube. They're incredible.
Yeah. Is it like all green screened, or what do you mean?
No, like the way they filmed it. So there's that scene where they're running down the hallway, and it's like it keeps flipping.
Yeah.
Like the tunnel's flipping. They have all the actors and stuff in that, they actually built that hallway, and it's on like this giant contraption that spins. So it's spinning as they're in it, and they're like sliding down and having to grab stuff. Like it was all choreographed and like a live shot. It was really cool.
That's crazy. I wonder if they had to have used like stunt doubles or no?
No, it looked like it was all the real actors.
Nice.
Yeah.
I feel like that's pretty freaking dangerous to be tripping over doors and knobs and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I guess it's very like coordinated, I guess, but
Yeah.
still, there's so much production that goes into all these movies, and I think sometimes we take it for granted. Sometimes.
Yeah, it's unreal. All right, before we get into sports, just got to plug our sponsor, FNX Fitness. They got great stuff, dope hat, good protein and BCAAs, all that kind of stuff. Visit their site, fnxfit.com. Use promo code 3amigos for 15% off any purchase. And they're running a like promo right now for free shipping on any order. So go check them out. All right. UFC. I know we don't usually get into like the fight game and like, that kind of stuff, but I feel like Dana White's all of us if we had a shit ton of money. Like he bought an island and he's just calling it Fight Island. He's hosting whatever UFC 200 million whatever fight on there. It's just unreal. Like that's so cool to do. Like how is there not like
crazy.
another billionaire sports owner that's like, hey, we're going to do this kind of thing,
I think Cristiano Ronaldo bought an island too, didn't he?
Yeah, he's had that island for a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
he's not
chilling
hosting
there.
fights on it, so that's not as cool.
No. You
I
know
feel
who would
somebody
do that?
eventually is gonna shut this dude down.
Steve
Who?
Ballmer would do that shit.
Somebody's gonna shut this dude down.
I don't know if they can. It's like international waters, like no laws type thing.
Yeah, Dan.
And now,
Go ahead.
go. I was gonna say all they have to do is like you got to get just the people that are tending to him, just have all them checked ahead of time for the virus, and then you're good to roll. Like
Yeah, if all the
it's
fighters
not-
are
it's not-
good.
It's not like it's football, baseball, basketball, where there's literally a whole team, a giant set of staff that goes along with it, and there's like 50 people that need to get tested. It's like you probably have 10 people at most that need to get tested. It's like the ringside people, each fighter, and the guy who's the referee or whatever, who's
Yeah. Do you guys feel like that's kind of like preferential treatment though? Like these fighters are able to just kind of get tested for this event, but if you and I wanted to go get tested, we'd get turned away.
What are you doing with your finger?
It's getting bored.
He's just getting weird. I personally, I think, there's so many ways you can look at it, but I think they're providing entertainment for people that are just going stir crazy right now. I don't know. I think there's value to it, but at the same time, there's people whose lives are in jeopardy that they're depriving. There's two ways to look at it, I guess.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be the priority kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree with
there's the mental
Brandon
health
says, like-
aspect too.
Yeah. My only thing is I get that it is beneficial for the sake of entertainment and getting people something to watch. My only thing is it's not going to bring back other sports. It's not going to allow you to go outside. It's not going to change that we're in this crazy situation. So people will watch it for a minute, and it's really not going to do anything until shit really does start to change. And I mean, we're going to see it with the NFL draft until these sports come back full blast. Like the sports world is going to be sad, and until we can go outside and have a drink at a bar and operate on a regular freaking routine schedule. I mean, those little things that people are kind of excited about, it's not going to really do much after the initial impact. Like, oh, UFC's on. Okay, well, that was kind of dull, so I'm just not going to watch again next week.
Yeah.
It's something to give people to look forward to, though. That's the thing. And it just depends on how many tests that you actually need. I don't know. Yeah, there's two ways to look at it. I definitely can see value in it. At the same time, if I needed those tests, I might be singing a different song right now.
Yeah, that's
You're right. It's not a lot of people that need. I mean, obviously, it's a substantial amount of people, but it's not as much as you would need for, say, a baseball team or a football team or a basketball team. It's not that as many tests that would go into that. But for me, it's like I'm not a huge UFC fan as it is, so this literally does nothing for me.
Yeah, I mean, in my eyes, it's more or less like I understand that they need to get tested for safety and all this kind of stuff, and I'm not condoning anything about like, if you want to get it, go get it type of thing, because I think everybody should be safe. But at the same time, it's kind of like the whole thing of like, well, you know what it entails if you want to risk your life to go do that. I don't think you should take away tests from the American people. But that's just kind of how I look at like how if Dana White wants to have these fights, it's like, well, you shouldn't be able to take tests away from people that actually need it, or you know what I mean? Like they should be available for everybody if they're going to be available for like these type of people.
And I think once it becomes available to everybody, like there's no like questions about it, that's when it's okay to start implementing some of these sports things. But until that comes up, there's going to be two sides of the coin, and you don't want there to be. Like, you don't want somebody else out there questioning you during this pandemic, whether it's your inability to take things away from humanity or try to give something back to them. You don't want to be stuck in that limbo trying to sell something.
I will say though, that's so dope that he like bought an island and is like,
well, and then think about it too, it's not going to be like profitable. Like the fighters and stuff that would be going out there, there's not going to be $1 million
there's
purse or anything that they're fighting for.
Yeah.
Well,
it can't be.
It's going to be a lot of money in pay-per-view. I'm sure people are going to shell out the money to go watch it. But what I'm wondering is, why doesn't he privately fund a production facility that can manufacture these tests for his own people?
Exactly.
You can hire temp workers to manufacture this thing. You have the money clearly, and if you're buying an island that just so your guys can whatever.
That's honestly my biggest gripe with the whole thing, is because there's all these like owners, players, coaches that are giving money directly to, whether it's like hospitals, the COVID-19, like, tests, research, whatever it may be. And it's like, I'm going to take millions of dollars and I'm going to go buy Fight Island. It's like, great, we get it. You have the money. But is this the priority right now?
Yeah, exactly.
Shouldn't the priority be speeding the process up so then we can get back to normally scheduled fights in Las Vegas and all these other, mighty fine cities that deserve the fights?
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. But I mean, at the same time, I think it's a dope idea. But I definitely think that like the money should be pointed somewhere else.
Well, it's like, I'm going to do both. Like, great. My argument's dead.
Yeah, exactly. Then we had the NBA coming out saying that they might do some, I don't know if it was going to be pay-per-view or just live horse competitions, which sounds so stupid to me. I don't know. I mean, first of all, I'm not the biggest like NBA guy, but second of all, horse is only fun if you're playing it. You know what I mean?
I think it's going to be a bragging rights thing. It's like that 2K tournament that just is going on right now. It's like they're literally just like trying to give something for people to watch. I would too, personally. I have zero interest in watching this horse tournament. But
like when you say, do you want to watch this competition during a freaking football game? Like, no. Like, I don't want to watch NBA players play horse. I don't.
The only thing that would be cool if it was horse but dunk competition. So it's like you had to mimic the dunks that they were doing. Then I'd be like, all right, that's kind of cool.
But then they'd have to sanitize the rim.
Yeah. Y'all wear gloves.
If all the guys are tested, I mean, it'll be fine. You have them dunk with gloves on.
Yeah. I'm just not. Yeah, horse sounds so stupid in my opinion. Not for me.
Yeah, I'm not feeling it either, but at the same time, whatever. It's like what I'm saying. They're just trying to find ways to entertain people. There's the mental aspect of it. So it's a real thing. Like people are going stir crazy right now, and they need something to take their mind off of. This whole thing right here is causing so much, uncertainty, and people are getting anxious because you're essentially just sitting around waiting for something that you don't know is going to happen. Like you don't know what's going to happen after this whole thing. If we're going to go to this match, and that's making people scared and uneasy.
Yeah, there's even people that are like, all these different news outlets that are like, oh, well, Harvard studies say that this might be isolation into November, and I'm like, why? What? Like, even if that's the truth, like, we're all sitting here, we're not doing anything. Like, I'd rather be arrogant to everything. Like, you don't need to start putting a date on it that's so far out.
What?
What's that?
Yeah, you definitely, I think, cause more panic than you do, help the situation. I think you want to be smart and make sure that people are responsible, but at the same time, you don't want them to be, I guess, living in complete fear. And I don't know. There's so many different ways to look at it, I guess. But
yeah, right. I 100% agree with you. It's like one of those things that it's like you don't need to strike fear into us by saying that, like, oh, we're gonna have, like, I'm not saying anything against their projections or anything like that. But it's like, oh, we're gonna have 100,000 deaths, and it's like, I mean, we're at like 12,000 right now, and you guys are saying it's gonna be by May. Like, how are you gonna be off by 80 something thousand? You know what I mean? Like,
and like, it can be less. Like, okay, well then tell us how it can be less. Otherwise, why are we sitting at home?
Yeah. Quit giving us these BS projections.
If you come out, it's like, oh, even if we self-isolate, 70% of the population is bound to get it. It's like, great, I'm leaving then.
Yeah.
So, like,
why don't I just get it
like,
then?
even if I'm sitting at home, exactly, yeah. That's my whole thing. Is like, sports are supposed to take, like, our mind off of these things, but yet this is the only thing people want to talk about right now. So I'm more of the mindset, it's like, let's not do this until we can actually do it. Like, I'm all for the NFL draft because they can do it like this. They can do it, via social media and phone. And they've always called their players anyways. That's something that we can do. But it's like, I don't want to watch people play horse. I don't want to watch some half-ass money grab so you guys can try to keep your sport relevant. It's like, people are going to watch your sport and they're going to be happy as hell when we can go back into the arenas and watch.
Yeah. Then we have the MLB saying that their season might start as soon as May. This is something I hope that it's a possibility. You know what I mean? I feel like as a nation, we've been very good at self-isolation, social distancing, all those like buzzwords that they've been telling us to do. Kind of like flatten the curve. There's another one for you. But yeah, so their plan is season starts sometime in May, early May. All the games would be played in Arizona, so all MLB players would live in hotels in Arizona. So it would be they'd play all their games at like the training fields. Is it Maid Park out there?
No.
Or
they
is
have
it
a bunch of different names.
No. What's the Diamondbacks? Chase. Okay.
Yeah, but it's the spring training field is what they're talking about using.
Yeah.
I heard it was like they were going to use.
The
it was like Chase and all the practice fields.
All of them. Yeah.
well, they probably would throw that in there.
100% all of them.
Stupid not to use that.
Yeah.
And that could be their primetime game if they were hypothetically speaking to do this. They could play their primetime game because it'd be all set up for the media and everything.
Well, they're saying that like they want to run 3 games a day on each field, which is I don't know if they'd have to do that many. I'm sure early on they'd kind of have to, just to keep everything moving. I have like mixed feelings about this. One, of course, I'm excited about it. I think it's doable. 2, it makes me excited because I just want baseball back. Like, I've been missing baseball like crazy. The thing I don't like about it though is now you're kind of like you're taking all of these major league players and the coaches and the staff and everything, and you're taking them away from their family in a time of crisis where it's like we don't know what's going on, and now you're making them stay in this restricted area in these unfamiliar territories for them, and you're making them kind of like, you know what I mean, do their job, which seems somewhat unfair. So that's why it's like
at the same time they're going to be earning their paychecks. Like
yeah,
like you're going out and working at that point.
Yeah.
So it's the families are more than capable of taking care of themselves at home. Don't you think?
No, I get that. I'm just saying that it's like I'm not a father, you know, thank God, but it's one of those things that it's like if I was, now would be the time that I'd want to be home to like watch over my family, make sure everybody's safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though there's nothing you can really do against the virus, it's just one of those things where it's like I'd want to just be around my family.
Yeah. I mean, your dad, how often does your dad see you?
Now?
Yeah.
I don't know, 2-3 times a week.
So, I mean, if he didn't see you that many times, you'd still be fine. Like, and if your dad had the opportunity to be earning a paycheck.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be, if I was a Major League Baseball player, I'd be all for this. I live by myself now. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't be any different, and I'd get to go hang out with my friends.
Yeah, I don't see too big of an issue with it. But at the same time, bottom line, I think they're being overly optimistic about a May start, to be honest. But I like the idea.
Yeah, it's April.
It's like, yeah, you're talking about starting, you know, in a month, which obviously they're still going to be doing spring training games. They would hypothetically be doing spring training games, and things wouldn't be, the games wouldn't matter for at least, you know, you're thinking at least 2 to 3 weeks at the earliest for spring training to wrap up. Because you're already cutting all the guys who were getting looks in spring training. This is mostly about getting your MLB players ready for opening day.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, regardless, I hope that they can get something going. I hope they can, you know, put the pieces together to get some games played. I mean, I always think that schedule makers are like magicians because they can somehow make these schedules so competitive. You know, they move everything around. They have great matchups like week to week. So for them to have like, I don't know how many fields they have. Let's just call it like 7 in total. They might have more for spring training in the big league park. But
is frozen.
My face?
Yeah, it's been frozen for like 3 minutes now.
Can you still hear me though?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
But yeah, I don't know. I just think it would be incredibly interesting how they would be able to like schedule all those teams in like that view of parks, you know?
I'm assuming what they would do is they would start, because I'm guessing they're going to condense the season, or they're going to try to make up those games without travel days, and the guys are just going to be playing game after game or something like that. I'm just because they're not going to have to travel. They're literally, baseball's one of those games. Aside from the pitchers, I feel like the everyday players could go out there and play almost every single day, you know. And I think they could make up for lost time by essentially wiping some of those games out, because I think we would only be about, you know, 2 weeks into the season at most, maybe a week right now. So you're looking at maybe a month of catch-up time. They might have to cut a few games, but I feel like that they would only be playing maybe 6 weeks in Arizona before they would. This is how I would assume that they would do it. They'd only be playing 6 to 8 weeks out in Arizona before they'd start coming back home to their home ballparks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. The other thing in the MLB that I thought was kind of like interesting, and I don't know, I want to get your guys' opinion on it, is AJ Hinch, the Astros manager, that's supposed to be having a season suspension. Regardless of what happens this season, next year he'll have served his term and he can get back into the MLB. Like, that's such BS, right? Like, is it just me that thinks that
No,
Yeah.
that's whack for sure. Hopefully the season starts back up soon,
But even
and
if
he
it
can
does,
actually
it's
serve
not
the
a.
suspension.
Even if it does, it's not like a real season. No one cares anymore. I mean, people have already forgot about the Astros have done.
Well, they're distracted by something else, but if the season were to start back up, people would start caring again.
I don't know if they
You
would
care-
because
you-
they're like
You
the
care
argument
right
would.
now. What are you talking about? You were just saying how much you miss baseball.
I know I care, but not everyone's like me. Not everyone's like us. You know what I mean? That actually has an opinion on this stuff. Like it's kind of BS that it's like this is his season suspension is on an off season. That's like saying that it's a lockout year and it's served.
I agree on the calendar year thing. I think that's pretty whack. But overall, I think people will care about the baseball season. I think people care now more than ever. There'll be more of an appreciation because they've been deprived of it. We kind of sometimes take things for granted as human beings, and I think if you're able to, deprive someone of something, they're going to really appreciate it once they're given it. So.
Yeah, I definitely took advantage. Like I was thinking about it, I was like, dude, I just miss those like minor interactions in the office when you got nothing to do and you go to the kitchen for coffee or water or whatever and there's somebody there so you gotta like shoot the shit for 5 minutes. It's like those little things, those breaks in the day are like I miss those.
Yeah. You still working from home?
Yeah.
Nice.
But all right guys, you ready? Let's talk NFL. Maybe we'll get Ryan to pay attention now.
Hey, I've been paying attention.
All right, we got
This-
the NFL draft.
Your lips when they're moving, so I don't know when a appropriate time to come in is.
That's what she said.
And I've been chilling here.
Just use your ears.
With some Franzia. I
you
mean,
got box one.
how disrespectful is that? You still have it in the box? Take that thing out, slap that bag, chug it down.
Slap the bag.
I mean, this is like last number 3 already in the last 25 minutes.
I can't be the only one that slapped the bag in my day. Come on.
Definitely slap the bag, but I'm not doing it with that. Dude,
Slap the bag.
it's a
Slap
recession.
that bag. Anyways, but we have the NFL draft in 2 weeks. I mean, I'm interested in how they're going to do it. It's like there's a lot of moving pieces. Speaking as like an IT guy, doing the whole draft virtually is going to be so stressful for whoever's working it. Tons of like little loopholes, you know what I mean? It's like let's say this is our war room, right? We got 3 minutes on the clock or whatever. Ryan keeps glitching. I'm frozen on his screen. No one can hear each other. It's like you're screwed. Like those are snap decisions that need to be made that now it got screwed up by this technology. Who knows? And Roger Goodell's given the wrong pick because he's a fucking idiot anyways.
Well, I don't know technology that well, but I feel like they would have their own like private servers that everyone's on that make they're making their calls and stuff from there, and that way no one's tampering or anything like that with what's going on because they would be.
Well, there's no way you could do that. It has to all be over the internet, so there's no like private servers or anything.
Sports podcast. This is the NFL. Boo.
Why are you booing us?
Boo.
Why are you booing?
Yay, we have some real sports to watch. Let's not bash.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I'm
Real
extremely
sport we have going on.
I'm extremely interested how they're going to do this. I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm just saying it's going to be.
For a fact they're going to like extend the time period in which a team has the ability to get the draft pick in. Worst case scenario, they don't have to do it on the thing. They can call it in. So
all right. Let me just put it this way, all right? My dad is 56, 57. Pretty technologically savvy. These owners are like 70 years old.
The owners don't make the pick.
Okay, even GMs. A lot of these GMs are in their 60s. Like,
Yeah, but
it's
they're-
not.
they're
I had to show
NFL
him how to do a Zoom meeting. He's invited me to join Zoom like 7 times.
You forget though, these guys have like multi-million-dollar backing right now, so they don't have to do anything but sit in front of the screen while somebody else does all of it.
So you're saying they're going to have somebody that knows how to work the technology in each one of their houses? Like, that's impossible.
Yeah, you could literally have somebody who's like your dad. If your dad were the GM, he would hire you to make those calls and make those picks to have them sent in. Like he just your
I don't
job would
think
be
there's going to be as many people. It's not going to be like a man war room. Like, people are going to be linked in on a phone call, and there's going to be one person that's making like the decision. But like, it's not going to go on. Like, so think about this: we don't get video in any war room any day. Like, that's not a conversation that's ever had on the day of the NFL draft. The only thing that we see is the pick going up to the front to Roger Goodell. So he's going to have his thing all set up, which I guarantee you will be foolproof.
Yeah,
And
no,
then
I'm saying
everybody else calls it in.
that's one thing, but then you're going to have, like, if we're the war room here, you wouldn't want one meeting. Like,
I'm not saying you wouldn't have to FaceTime the whole meeting. You could just call it if you're having technical issues.
Yeah, that's
Also,
true too. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I'm interested to see how it goes.
The thing about it, at this point, every single person in that war room knows exactly who their 1 through 20 is for, first round draft pick. Everybody knows it like it's the back of their hand right now. So it's not like they need to have like a screen saying who's up and who's down. And I'm sure they've had this conversation where it's like, all right, everybody, we're emailing you. This is what our whiteboard looks like or would look like. Need you to keep track during the NFL draft. Hey, Tom Telesco, you're going to be in charge of calling, for trades, or you're going to be in charge of, this phone. Like, everybody's going to be wired in. They've had too many weeks to prepare for this now.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they can't get it done. I'm just saying I'm interested to see, because there's a lot of loopholes that you got to get through. You know what I mean? Like, human error is a huge factor.
NFL too. The NFL's got they have so much money, they could make this thing happen, and it's going to be smooth. And I wouldn't stress it too much. I think it's going to be, like Ryan's saying, very exciting, because it's literally like the first real bit of sports news since this whole thing went down. So
I would even be fine if it was just on ESPN and I had to watch like the track. I would be fine. I'd be on ESPN all day. It's like, ooh.
Yeah, I don't even need like a commentator. I don't need Roger Goodell to come out and say it. If you just live tweet it and
a little ticker thing.
Yeah, you just have it all come out as it comes in. Like, I'm good with that.
You should have Donald Trump live tweet the whole thing.
Oh God.
Could you imagine?
You'd have to go there.
There'd be so many spelling errors. And with the
I hope
third pick in the draft, this is the best third pick draft I've ever seen.
I'm all about team chaos, because I don't have a horse in the race. So I would love to see a lot of trades and like a lot of people moving up and down throughout the draft. And I think that would be exciting.
So the one thing I can guarantee is that regardless of what happens, Bill O'Brien is going to fuck this up. That's all I'm saying. It's my one bold prediction. Yeah, he's going to fuck up the draft like he does every year. So,
yeah. Okay, but as far as Brand's comment goes, it's going to be very interesting. I talked to Dean about this earlier in the week, and a lot rides heavy on what teams value Chase Young, Jeff Ogba, and Isaiah Simmons. If teams on the top 6 picks, or top 10 picks basically, have those players really trades. Days, we haven't really checked in on any of these players since the NFL Combine, which Chase Young didn't perform at. It's going to be really interesting to see where these teams, like the Redskins or the Lions or the Giants, because both the Chargers and the Dolphins, they're sitting at 5 and 6. Well, the Dolphins at 5 and the Chargers at 6. So them trying to move up to get the quarterback so the other team doesn't might be hard if you rank defender. What the hell?
You broke up on
Hello?
my end.
Damn it, you didn't hear any of that?
I've heard like every other word almost.
Yeah, at one point you sounded like a EDM DJ.
That was the longest I talked this whole podcast. That was really sad.
And at one point he said, "Let's get it on."
Repeat what you said. What were you saying? You were saying it was between Chase Young.
Sorry.
Just do it again. Take 2.
So basically what I'm saying is it all weighs heavy on where these quarterbacks or not where these defenders are going to get drafted and how high these teams are on those players. So if it's, Jeff Ogba, Chase Young, or Isaiah Simmons that are really high up on these teams' boards, we might not see a lot of trades in the top of the first round. You always see a lot of trades at the bottom half, just like teams moving up a little bit here and there. But we might not see that many if some of these teams are really high on these defensive back picks or defensive end.
I mean, yeah, I if I was like an NFL GM, I would definitely be targeting like the defensive ends in this draft. I just think it's like so much talent is coming out at this point that you kind of got to get it while the getting's good, It's like strike when the iron's hot type thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing is that the Redskins are going to be on the clock basically right now. I mean, everybody knows the Bengals are taking Joe Burrow with the number 1 overall pick. He's their guy. The Redskins hold most of us, football fans, they hold the whole draft in their hands because do they want Tua? Do they want Chase Young? Do they think that, they want Isaiah Simmons and they think he's going to be there at 5 or 6 and they can trade back? That's where it's no longer in the Chargers and Dolphins' control on the ability to trade up, because if the Giants are really high on Jeff Ogba and they think that he's not going to be available at 6, then they're not going to trade their third overall pick. And the same thing goes for the Lions. Like they're not going to, the Lions pick 3, the Giants pick 4. But they're not going to trade their pick back if they think that their guy's not going to be there.
Yeah.
So, and I kind of imagine that Matt Patricia's sitting there with the Lions like, I freaking got really good picks to come in my direction. I got 3 solid defenders that I could take. Which one do I want?
Yeah, in my eyes, it's more or less like, if the draft goes as planned and we go Joe Burrow 1, Chase Young 2, and then we're at pick 3, I think it's really on the Chargers to like move up if they want Tua, like if Tua is going to be their person.
Chargers can't move up. Chargers can't move up. They don't have the draft capital that the Dolphins do. Any offer that they could send to the Giants or the Lions, I keep mixing those two up. Any offer they could send to the Lions, the Dolphins could double if they really wanted it. Then that brings in the argument, who wants Tua?
Mm-hmm.
Because at this point, if a team wanted Tua and the Redskins didn't really care about having Chase Young, like they've stated, then there would already have been a trade.
Mm-hmm.
Because Joe Burrow's going 1, and the Redskins haven't decided on who they're picking with the 2. So I'm of the belief that maybe the Dolphins do want Herbert, or maybe he's higher up on their, draft board, or maybe the fact.
Oh, froze again.
I was saying, if Tua was, he didn't have a pro day, and we weren't be able to see what he's able to do. Teams might not want to trade up for him. Not to say that the Dolphins or the Chargers wouldn't take him at 5 or 6. I think he would definitely go there. But giving up more prospects to move up to that pick kind of goes out the question this year because of the lack of tape that you've seen on him.
Yeah, I will say it's an interesting time, especially for the draft, because we didn't have those pro days. So, a lot of goes up to question. Scouting is a big thing in every sport. So we didn't get that final look at these people. And especially somebody like Tua, who had that hip injury that
nasty injury.
It's like we don't know how much he's come back for. Of course, his camp is going to be saying that he's 100%. But it's like, how much can you take that as truth?
Yeah.
You don't get to see what he's at. So I could definitely see Justin Herbert just being valued higher than Tua at this point because, like you said, Ryan, there's kind of more tape on him. But it'll be an interesting draft. I definitely am excited for it, regardless of everything I said. But
sleeping on Jordan Love either. I think that he's going to surprise a lot of people. I know this past week and weekend, a lot more teams had him falling off into the Patriots later on in the first round, like 23 to 28-ish.
Mm-hmm.
I even saw one where the Chargers traded back up into the first round to get him. He's not falling that low. I can almost guarantee you, with the amount of assets that this guy carries, and we see it every single year with whatever the new prototypical quarterback is, somebody's going to reach. And it's probably going to be a team that you had no idea that was going to reach for, that is going to panic, and it's going to move back up. I look at a team maybe like the Jaguars. Obviously, they liked what they saw with Gardner Minshew this past season, but they have some draft capital they can use. Maybe even the Chargers, they're set on having Herbert, and they don't want to move from 6, and they want to sit right where they're at. It's going to be really interesting. The more that I look at it, the more I think that these defensive players are going to be valued where they should be drafted, and it might just play out 1 through 6. We might not see any big trades because I feel like the Dolphins and the Chargers are both trying to call each other's bluff, and I think that they want the opposite player.
So let me ask you this: are these players interchangeable? I mean, like we're talking about one, pick 5 and 6, like picks apart kind of thing, and moving up legitimately like 3 picks to get your guy instead of this guy. Like, do you think that these guys are somewhat interchangeable? Like, if the Dolphins go Herbert, Chargers go Tua. If the Dolphins go Tua, the Chargers go Justin. Like, do you think? So
you're asking if it's not just the one guy, like if the other team wins, they go the other.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely a possibility. And the reason is that Tua, if he was healthy and we saw a full season of him, would be undoubtedly the number 1 overall pick in this draft. Even with Joe Burrow's Heisman, even with his national championship, if we saw a full season of Joe Burrow, he probably would have played in that college football championship, and he probably would have beat LSU the second time around. So I think that without a doubt, if he was healthy, you would see him there, and then this whole draft would play a part a lot differently. Since he's not, I think that Tua fits better in the Chargers system based off of who they've acquired in free agency.
Yeah.
I think that Justin Herbert could play in either or system. I don't think there's any personal preference there with him. He's more of a gunslinger. He kind of reminds me of a more mobile Jay Cutler. So I think that he could go into any system and probably produce pretty quickly. And then Jordan Love is just a freak athlete. So I don't think he's as interchangeable as the other two because the tape is a lot more indifferent.
Mm-hmm.
So, but out of the 3, it's tough to say who's going to be the more appealing pick because everybody's been interviewing everybody. Everybody's had to do their due diligence. So it's not like, even Adam Scheffler's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like the Chargers talked to Tua. They talked to Herbert. The year that the Chargers drafted Joey Bosa, he said, I didn't even get a phone call from him.
Yeah, and it's even more like who knows what's going on because like reporters don't have the ability to go up to, these coaches and the coaching staffs and be like, so how do you guys feel about this person? It's like they don't have that ability to get that in-person interview anymore. It's kind of, it's like everything's being done remotely. It's behind behind the closed door type of thing. So yeah, it's kind of who knows what's going to happen during the draft, but definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah. Super exciting. Super exciting.
Yeah. All right. Before we get into the NFL all-decade team, I got to go to the bathroom. So wait.
So you want Tua? Is Tua your boy?
I don't know, man. I'm indifferent. I think he makes more sense because they like beefed up that right side of the line, and it seems like they have confidence in Tyrod Taylor. But I like Herbert too. I like all three of them. But if I'm the Chargers and I don't go out of this draft pick with a quarterback, then like it's a fail.
Yeah.
Like you have to go into that new stadium with a new quarterback. I mean, you have to like this is the new like LA Chargers. Like this is our future. If you don't, like you're missing out, 1 on marketing, 2 on sales, 3 on the potential to replace Phillip Rivers.
If both guys are on the board, who do you pick?
Probably Tua, because he could sit for a year behind Tyrod Taylor. I think with Herbert, there's going to be more of a push to get him in there right away and see what he can do. But Tua is definitely the more sexy pick.
Yeah, he's definitely got the appeal for sure. Who do you think is more likely to fall to the Chargers, though?
I think Herbert. Herbert makes the most sense.
Yeah.
But I like Herbert too. Like even Dean was asking, like I think they're both interchangeable. Like I think that you're looking at 2 guys that probably aren't going to finish far off from one another. And Justin Herbert's got more of the like build to be a quarterback. Tua's only 6'1", and like we can say what we want about like these more successful like quarterbacks that are shorter than like 5 foot or 6'2". It's like you really still only have Russell Wilson and Drew Brees. Like Baker hasn't done shit. Kyler Murray's still proven himself. Like there hasn't been anybody. So it's like I get it. And then everybody compares Tua to Drew Brees, and it's like, oh, he's like a left-handed Drew Brees, and I'm like, I don't see it.
Yeah, I mean,
to be honest,
it's like,
no one likes Brees.
It's like the short delivery, big arm type thing, but yeah, it's.
Well, and it's like I think it's such a reach that it's like Tua's good, like he's really good, and he is a amazing college quarterback, and Drew Brees is a Hall of Fame NFL quarterback, but like I don't understand the comparison because they play so differently.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I want to talk about Hard Knocks that's coming up.
Oh, yeah.
If it happens. I feel like this is such a Chargers move. So Hard Knocks, they're going to do both LA teams, the Rams and the Chargers. I mean, I feel like they wanted to do the Chargers, but you know, it's synonymous at this point. You can't do the Chargers without the Rams type thing.
They're both struggling. So yeah, like they're both struggling mightily.
Yeah, I mean
we're talking about a team that's a little over a year removed from a Super Bowl appearance that has lost a drastic amount of their fan base in the span of 14 months.
So the Chargers need to move to Vegas, and they need to bring the Raiders back to LA.
Dude, honest to God, like I think at this point, like you just gotta tell the owners, like, hey man, our bad. Like this is a mistake.
Well, it's like we're switching teams. You can still be called like the Chargers. You guys can now be called the Chargers, and they're called the Rams or the Raiders now. It's like one of those things. Like just fucking
like
swap them out.
You know the NFL is all about the money. I just can't believe that we're sitting here having a conversation where 32 NFL owners sat down and decided that the Raiders were going to play in Vegas versus Los Angeles when all of that money that they would have accumulated as a whole if the Raiders would have been in LA.
The sales pitch for Vegas had to be so good.
Man. I mean, I know that they wanted to be there. Absolutely. The Chargers, a team that was basically disposable to everyone else. It's like, we'll send you to LA.
I just think that it was one of those things too that, I mean, the Raiders are going to be successful anywhere. The Raider Nation is a real thing. And why dilute that? You know, like why wouldn't you just keep it nice and tight and strong. And the Chargers historically have always been considered a fair weather fan base. You know, like you could put them in Vegas and they'll be fine because they have so many. You know, people will just show up because San Diego is a beautiful place.
Yeah, but they couldn't put them in Vegas because they didn't have a stadium before the Raiders decided that they want to go to Vegas.
Do you remember this whole
thing from a timeline perspective? But they could have still kept.
No, it's more from a money perspective. It's like,
dude, when this whole thing started, the owners declined the Chargers and Raiders proposal to move to Los Angeles, but they accepted the Rams with the contingency that the Chargers might join the following year. So like, I'm certain that all 32 of these owners are fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows?
Well, the thing about the owners too, they'll you know, obviously they're out to protect their own personal interest above the league and everything else. They care about what's going to turn a profit for them the most. And you know, if their competition's not as successful, that's fine because it makes them stronger, I guess, in the long run. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going through their head, but that's the only thing I can think of that would be rational for them.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what the decision was on that. Then also next season we had the Bucs and the Falcons debuting their new jerseys. I think we were all a fan of the Bucs and not a fan of the Falcons. Is that right?
Yes.
Dude, yes. Hey, I got to give a huge shout out to the Bucs because I like going back to that classic look, the look that you had when you won the Super Bowl, bringing back that, what's the term?
Nostalgia, the
nostalgia for these fans to see their team back in that original but newly renovated look. The Falcons, though, I feel like they put out some shit that you'd see on the Avengers. Like it looks like a suit more than it looks like a jersey.
Yeah, I was telling Ryan, it looks like a Fortnite skin. Like it looks like something that a video game developer was like, oh, this would look cool on a player, you know? Like it's one of those kind of things. The numbers I think are just too blocky. That like ATL, we all talked about that. Hate that. It's just, I don't know. I don't get it.
I just didn't think the Falcons needed a new uniform either. Like,
I don't either.
They were doing fine.
There's a lot of teams now that are going back to the roots. They're going away from that new flashy look that we saw in the early 2000s that was, you know, exciting to the newer fan base, and they're trying to go back to the classical look. My only issue with the Falcons is that they tried to do both too much.
Well, did you guys see that picture I sent you today? It was Adam Sandler in the Longest Yard, where it was like the same jersey as the Falcons.
Which one? Mean Machine one, or what are you talking about?
No, this one.
Yeah, the Mean Machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, the numbers don't look as stupid though. At least the Mean Machine one.
Yeah.
I actually don't think those look half bad for some reason.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think that
the ATL,
I don't like
I think it looks ugly. I'm not a fan of the ATL and the numbers.
I don't like the red jerseys. I don't know if you noticed this, but they're black at the bottom.
No, I didn't see that. That's so stupid.
Is it like a piping or what is it?
Yeah. No, it literally goes solid black right at the bottom of the jersey, so it looks like their pants are longer.
The hell?
That's dumb.
Yeah. The black jerseys look clean. I'll give them that. But the matte black, I think they're matte black helmets. Those are pretty clean. I think they have the gray face mask. I don't like the ATL.
Yeah.
The ATL, the font looks stupid too.
The piping on the black jerseys look like it's red and white. You should have just gone like a red piping with white outlining. Like it's so close to being cool.
Yeah.
But
it's just a little bit off.
I'm not I'm not going to hate on a solid color because I just feel like it's it doesn't look bad, but it's not exciting or cool looking or anything like that. But like they took that solid look, which was already kind of boring and whatever, and then they tweaked it in like a really, I don't know, an ugly way. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like the look.
Yeah. The other thing with the Buccaneers jerseys and like their release thing, I thought it was hilarious that they had Chris Godwin wearing number 12. It was like you just signed Tom Brady. You couldn't have had a reshoot or an edit real quick. You know, like couldn't just be like,
Well,
hey man,
money, man. They just paid Tom Brady. They gotta,
it doesn't cost that much money. Shit, I mean,
No,
have Tom pay for it.
It's more like the inconvenience of having everyone come out for reshoots, and I'm guessing they're in quarantine when the free agency went down, so just a little bit more of a production, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, Ryan just sent us Chargers debuting theirs at April 21st.
That was pretty funny. I was wondering because they said April, so every time somebody says like, "Oh, it's coming out in April," I'm like, April 1st, let's go.
Yeah, right.
But I mean, the Chargers. I'm excited. I think that they have the possibility to go back to something a little bit more classic to help bring back some of that spark that San Diego fans that are on the fence, still being a LA Charger fan, back. Play into that nostalgia a little bit. I hope they don't go too fancy with it. I know you're in LA and you probably got a lot of cool designers out there, but let's keep it simple.
Yeah, don't keep it too flashy. But all right, everybody, I've been looking forward to this all week. If you've made it this far in the podcast, you're getting a treat right now. NFL released their all-decade team, and I sent it to you guys. Really wanted to talk about it just to see like if you guys agreed with their list, who you think got snubbed.
When did you send that?
I don't know.
I don't think I got that thing.
You did. You replied back to it.
No, there it is. It's on your messages on the. No, I didn't reply back to it though.
Anyways,
all right, now I gotta look at it. But go ahead.
All right. So Ryan, I hope you're ready for this. I hope you got some good ones, because I personally, when I first looked over this list, I was like, oh, it's a pretty good list. Then I took a second look and I was like, oh, there's some definite names on here that I feel like one shouldn't be on here and two should be on here. So
yeah.
First off, we'll start off with the quarterbacks. One last sip. All right, with the quarterbacks.
Hold on.
Yep.
Time out.
Oh, he's gonna get whiskey for this.
Oh, he's excited.
Or he's taking a shit.
Yeah, this list looks fine to me. I don't see any problems.
Yeah, I mean, at first it looks fine, but I don't know. I got some qualms with it. I sent you both. I didn't send both, but they released offense, defense, and special teams.
Yeah, I'm looking at the offense one right now.
Yeah, so
I'm trying to pull up your the one that you sent us so I can have. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah, it was on NFL's Instagram page.
Okay, I'm good.
All right, so first off, right off the bat, quarterbacks. At first, I looked at it, I was like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, two great names, two great picks. But I'm going to make an argument for Drew Brees. I think Drew Brees over Aaron Rodgers. I know
it's not an argument. It 100% should have been Drew Brees.
Like, I get it. Yeah, it should just be Drew Brees. I think that Drew Brees is just has accomplished more over the decade than Aaron Rodgers had.
He's been more consistent, I think.
Aaron Rodgers, when healthy, is the best quarterback in the NFL over Drew Brees, over Aaron Rodgers. Okay, that's part one. That's why he's on the list.
Yeah.
The reason that he shouldn't be there is Tom Brady and Drew Brees are both at the top of the all-time quarterback list for every attribute that there is. Passing yards, passing touchdowns, completion percentage. I mean, like, they're all up there. Like, there's no reason Aaron Rodgers should be on that list. I mean, if there was three, absolutely, Aaron Rodgers should be number 3. But I think that Drew Brees should be number 1 over Tom Brady based off of statistics. Not
well, I don't
rings.
know if it was listed in any particular order. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it was that way.
But he looks like Tom Brady was listed as a unanimous selection, so for sure he's one.
Yeah. But I'm going to make the argument, even if it was 3, let's imagine it's 3 people. I don't know if I'm putting Aaron Rodgers on there. I might make an argument for Peyton Manning. I mean, Peyton played until, 2014, 2015? I mean, I know the 14. End of his career was bad, but 2012 he set the touchdown record with 55 touchdowns or whatever.
No, he missed 1 year. He missed one whole year. He had one good year. He had one amazing year, and then he sucked the next year. I mean, I get where you're going at, and if this was if it was a 2015 to 2005, 100% agree with you.
Yeah. I'm just saying it's like one of those things too, where it's like, even like it's an argument to say that if you were going to rank all of the quarterbacks that played in the decade, Peyton Manning would definitely be towards the top of that. You know what I mean? Like, so that's just an argument I'd make for 3 almost.
Those 3 quarterbacks would be on my top 5 quarterback list of all time. Yeah. I mean, love Dan Marino, John Elway, Steve Young, Joe Montana. But these 3 quarterbacks have done something different than any 3 of those quarterbacks did before. I think it's safe to say at this point all 3 of them are better than John Elway. Mm-hmm. I think it's safe to say that all of them are better than Steve Young and Dan Marino. The only one up there for argument would be Joe Montana. I still think he and Tom Brady are like that 1A and B.
Yeah, I agree. All right, moving up to wide receivers. So at first I was looking at it and, great names.
First of all, there should be an asterisk next to Antonio Brown's name.
That's true.
Or just being a dumbass. Or...
For me, I don't think Megatron should be on this list. I think they should replace it with DeAndre Hopkins. If you're going to make the argument that Peyton Manning doesn't get to be on there because he only played 4 seasons, hold on. I got arguments for you too. I got arguments. All right. So Megatron played 6 seasons into the decade, 2010 to 2015. All right. His receptions are less than DeAndre Hopkins, his amount of receptions. His yards, less. He had more touchdowns, though. So Megatron in that span had 538 receptions. D-Hop had 632. He had 8,548 yards. D-Hop at 8,602. Megatron had 62 touchdowns. D-Hop had 54. So I'm just saying that, like, based on the numbers in the decade, DeAndre Hopkins is a better wide receiver than Calvin Johnson.
You're at 1,000% incorrect.
Not overall. I'm not going overall. I'm not saying overall he's a better. I'm just saying his production in the decade, he was better. If Megatron would have played until 2017, no argument. Put him on the list. 2018, no problem. Put him on the list. He only played half the decade.
Even then, though, his impact, he was the best receiver during that portion that he was on the field. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying. If you want to look at it from the last 4 or whatever, I still would value him. I still think he's a Hall of Famer. I think he'll go to the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. I think he impacted the game enough during his small sample size, but I understand what you're saying. DeAndre Hopkins probably was one of the snubs on the all-decade team for sure.
Okay, I'll put it to you this way. I think that DeAndre Hopkins should be over Antonio Brown.
But even then, like, Antonio Brown has a ridiculous amount of numbers. I mean, he's like, and he's kind of, I don't know, he kind of changed the game for wide receivers in a way. Like, he showed, like, without him, it's like, what's his name? Tyreek Hill. Like, who knows if he would have had the same kind of draft stock as Antonio Brown, like, without Antonio Brown.
All right, we got to get through this list a little quicker. I think we're spending a long time on the first 2.
All right. So that's my argument. That's my argument for
2012. He had 1,900 yards receiving. That's all I got to say. That was the most by any wide receiver in any decade of any team. He had the most yards in one season. Calvin Johnson. That was in 2012.
I
That's
also
why-
think it's
that's
important.
why
I
I'm
also think
keeping
it's important to
Calvin
lay
Johnson
out
on the
like the quarterbacks, like the quarterbacks that threw DeAndre Hopkins the ball besides Megatron. I mean,
Don't overthink it, man.
Matt Stafford's no snub.
Look at the statistics. That's why I'm saying statistically, Drew Brees is a better quarterback than Drew Brees, or Drew Brees is a better quarterback than Tom Brady. Statistically, you can't take away that he had the most receiving yards in one season.
Yeah, but that's one season. If you take it over the decade, DeAndre Hopkins has better numbers.
Okay, let's go on to the next one.
All right, tight ends is the next one. This one, I'm just taking off Travis Kelce, throwing up Antonio Gates just because I was a Chargers fan for Gates. Yeah.
Jason Witten too, man. I feel like Jason Witten got a little bit of a snub on this one.
Yeah, but you're not going to put
There's
Jason
also
Witten over
recency
Gronk.
bias too, a little bit with it, but
Yeah.
Gronk deserves for sure to be one.
Yeah.
You can't pull him off this list.
Yeah, I mean, he did a lot.
Yeah. But
Bias,
For me-
Antonio Gates. Realistically, Jason Witten should probably be on this list, but I get it.
I feel like Gates was a little bit like he's that Peyton Manning thing where it was like 2005 to 2015 he'd be for sure on the list.
Yeah,
Right.
I 100%.
The last like 2 or 3 years he's just been a ghost. Like
yeah, I agree. For offensive line, I didn't really have anything.
Dude, Andre Whitworth.
I mean, I saw that name in the comments and I was like, okay, but I don't really know. I'm not gonna lie and be like, oh, I know offensive linemen and I can pay attention to it. Like I don't,
Andre
the
Whitworth.
only way you'd
Like
the only way you'd know that is like a PFF where you're just like studying, how many sacks came off which offensive lineman, and because you're not noticing that unless
I don't
you're,
know a lot of offensive linemen's names, but I know Andre Whitworth's, and I think that Joe Staley is obviously deserving. Joe Thomas, Jason Peters,
Aaron
Smith is like they're good, but Andre Whitworth is probably better than I would say 3/4 of them.
I mean, that's 3 out of 4.
Yeah. I think the only person that's not better than him is Joe Thomas.
I don't know. Joe Staley's a beast.
Yeah, Joe Staley is a beast, but
Yeah,
Tyron Smith's a beast too.
That's true
Tyron
too.
Smith has fallen off a lot in the last 3 years, though.
Well, he's been hurt a lot too.
Exactly.
The whole offensive line's been hurt a lot.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this guy you're talking about. That's why. I've heard of all these other guys except for this guy.
He was on the
Whitworth.
Bengals and the Rams. But yeah, he gave up statistically the least sacks out of NFL or out of any other left tackle in the NFL for like his entire career.
Yeah. All right. Any other
Then
guard
he
center?
definitely got snubbed for sure.
Yeah.
I don't have an argument for.
I don't know Jari Evans. Well, I know the rest actually, but Jari Evans I've never heard of.
All right.
What are you talking
All right. Running backs. We'll go to running backs. For me, I think Le'Veon Bell should be on this list over Marshawn Lynch. I know everything that Marshawn Lynch has done, but also he retired for 2 years, and then so like the last 3 years, he really hasn't been that relevant. I know Le'Veon Bell had that kind of holdout year, but still, you just saw the production that he had with the Jets as soon as he came back. So,
And there was I feel like Jamal Charles was a stud too. Like, I don't know when he retired, but he was. I thought he was one of the best running backs in the league for several years. I know this early in the decade, so he's probably not going to get quite as much love. I mean, LaShawn McCoy's fallen off the last few years too. I mean, he still deserves to be on the list, but I'm just saying you can make
you can make an argument for LaShawn McCoy. But I did
Jamal Charles or
oh yeah, Jamal Charles. Yeah, sorry, Jamal Charles. Yeah, no, for Jamal Charles, but
I think obviously there's no question about Adrian Peterson. I think without a doubt he's the best running back that we've seen over the last decade, hands down.
Yeah.
Marshawn Lynch had a lot of iconic plays, on a team where he won a Super Bowl. So I think that's one of the biggest things there. I mean, I know I'm not trying to factor that into, but he was on a lot of good deep playoff run teams. He played in 2 Super Bowls over the last decade.
I feel like with Marshawn, it's like that was a popular pick.
LaShawn McCoy, I feel like he did a lot in a lot of different places. I mean, he was definitely the best running back fantasy wise for a solid 5 years there.
Yeah.
Frank Gore is always consistent, but I don't think Frank Gore deserves to be on this list.
I think Frank Gore just deserves to be on this list because he's like tried and true, like he's just grinded it out kind of thing.
I will say Frank Gore will go down as one of the best running backs of all time. But when you're comparing talent to talent, I don't think that Frank Gore is as talented as he is lucky. I mean, he's lucky to play the entirety of his career without having injuries. And obviously that's hard work too. You can't rule that out. But I think when you're looking at like best players, I do think that Jamal Charles probably should be on this list and Le'Veon Bell. So if I was going to take people off, it would probably be, I'd say LaShawn McCoy and Frank Gore. I'd leave Marshawn on. I would put Jamal Charles above LaShawn McCoy, and I would put Le'Veon Bell over Frank Gore.
So I'm leaving LaShawn on. I mean, like, LaShawn McCoy just did so much. I know it was early in the decade, but, I mean, he was the best running back for, a couple years in a row, and even still, you get a lot of production out of him.
I just liked Jamal Charles better.
Jamal Charles he was a stud for so many years, and then he literally fell off a cliff. Just one season seemed like he just didn't have it anymore. I would take Marshawn. That would be my pick to take off the list to put Jamal Charles on.
The other person that you got to think about here that's been in the league for the last 4 years is Todd Gurley.
Yeah, but I mean that's only 4 years, so it's like for me.
But if you
like, that's another reason why it's like
Marshawn Lynch's productivity over the last decade, you're talking about a front heavy versus a back heavy, and
that's why I'm taking him off.
But so Todd Gurley, I feel like has been more productive in the last 4 years than most of those other running backs have been in the last 8 years.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. All right, we'll move over to the other side of the ball. So early on, the one thing I had an issue with, so if you guys click on NFL, their Instagram page, it's like on that same page. I guess I can send it to you. So first off, I feel like the thing with the defensive ends and the defensive tackles, what are you rating Aaron Donald as?
He's a defensive end.
I put him as a defensive end, but I feel like they copped out and they put him as a defensive tackle.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that I kind of like have an issue with those initial defensive ends. All those names on that list deserve to be on there. So
I don't have an argument with the defensive ends list. I think there is a lot of good defensive ends in the NFL now, just like there's a lot of good quarterbacks. I mean, you could say, over the last 4 seasons, 4 seasons, Joey Bosa's been great. You could say, who's the other dude? DeForest Buckner has been great. But the productivity from Calais Campbell and Cameron Jordan has been like
unbelievable.
We're not talking about like just pure talent here. We're talking about what they've put on the field, and it's been matched to none. I mean, J.J. Watt's on here because he's had a few really good seasons early in the 2010s, riddled by injury. But those few good seasons, he won 2 MVPs.
Yeah.
Defensive player.
J.J. Watt deserves to be on the list for sure.
Yeah. And Julius Pepper, he is like
clarifying that.
Consistency.
Yeah, Julius Pepper is just consistency. I just thought it was interesting that it was like their cop out for getting Aaron Donald on the list was like, we'll make him a defensive tackle.
He does tackle a lot though, especially like now that when they had the Rams had Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah.
So I mean I get it.
Yeah. All right. Inside linebackers and outside linebackers, I didn't really have a problem with. I was trying to find a problem, but in reality, I didn't. The only thing I thought was interesting, I was like, how did Luke Kuechly not be a unanimous decision?
Yeah.
That was really like the only thing that I had that like an issue with.
No, yeah, I totally agree with the linebackers too.
With the secondary, so all right, initially, I don't know if this is just me being dumb and like me not understanding, but I always considered a defensive back a corner and a safety. But here they have 3 categories with corner, safety, and then DBs.
So defensive back is the one that plays that slot nickelback spot now, because a lot more teams are going away from like the standard 4-3 or 3-4 defense.
But then that's not fair to put those names on the list. Like Tyrann Mathieu should not be considered that position. You know what I mean?
No, 100% he should be, because it's not a safety position anymore. They're players that are more playing on the line of scrimmage.
I treat it as more of like a strong almost. So it's like he should be in the same, like Eric Weddle then could be considered in that DB area.
So
I mean, he lined up just as close to the line as.
No, not at all. Eric Weddle early in the 2000s, yes, when he played with the Chargers. Ever since from the Ravens to the Rams, he has not gone up to the line of scrimmage maybe like 10% of the time.
Okay, yeah. So, maybe I'm just that's where I'm thinking. I'm like,
I will say
I can see Eric Weddle in a Chargers jersey lining up at linebacker depth, like.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So
okay.
The thing that they could have done here is they could have easily shoved Chris Harris into cornerbacks and put 4, and they could have put Tyrann Mathieu into safeties and made 4. So they could have just extended both the lists, and you would have still had the same like outcome. But they're trying to make it like a specialty position, so nobody else is getting ticked off.
All right. So in that case, I'm just gonna say like the cornerbacks should have 4 positions, and I don't know how you don't put Stephon Gilmore or. I mean, I know Jalen Ramsey's extremely young, and he only has been in the league for like 3-4 years, but the dominance that he's had.
Just got good the last 2 years.
Who?
Stephon Gilmore. He just.
I mean,
I think started playing good the last 2 years.
I think that he just started playing like a dominant role, but if you look at his numbers, like his numbers over the decade are everything besides like tackles are better than Chris Harris's.
But with cornerbacks, you can't look at normal statistics. Most good cornerbacks, it's the more in-depth statistics with, completion percentage thrown to your side of the field. The amount of receiving yards the number 2 wide receiver had. Because both Darrelle Revis and Richard Sherman were shut down corners. Nobody threw to their side of the field ever. Mm. The only thing is Stephon Gilmore falls more in line with Darrelle Revis and Richard Sherman as far as a shutdown corner. But Patrick Peterson had more interception return for touchdowns at the beginning of his career than any other cornerback did.
I mean, plus Patrick Peterson is a wide receiver playing defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Stephon Gilmore, I don't think Stephon Gilmore is better than Chris Harris, though. Chris Harris is the most underrated cornerback on this list because I do think over the last 5 years he played better than Richard Sherman, without a doubt. I mean, this is a Super Bowl winning cornerback as well. He was on that team with Von Miller and Aqib Talib, and he actually took on the better receiver than Aqib Talib did not.
Yeah, I mean, that was my only thing. That was like the one thing that was like, I think the cornerback position, they should have 4 names there. Same with the safeties. For the safeties list, I mean, this was like a real tough one, and this is only because literally only because like the impact on the game, and maybe for argument's sake, but I think Eric Berry should be taken off this list and Cam Chancellor should be put on.
I'd agree.
That's my.
I understand why they didn't do it because Earl Thomas was already on the list.
Mm-hmm.
But
the Legion of Boom.
Cam Chancellor was probably a better overall safety, And if that's the argument, then you for sure take off Chris Harris and you put Cam Chancellor as that special defensive back position. Because
Agreed.
Cam Chancellor was a hybrid linebacker safety corner. And he blocked a lot of freaking field goals too.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Cam Chancellor deserves to be on this list. I feel like, I mean, not more than like Von Miller, Aaron Donald, or J.J. Watt, but he's pretty high up there.
Yeah, I agree.
He's the Calvin Johnson of this selection.
There you go.
Hired too early.
But all right, yeah, that's kind of all I had for this week.
That was fun, man.
That was good. But all right, everybody. We are the Three Amigos and a podcast. Don't forget to listen to us again next week and use our discount code at fnxfit.com. And we'll be back next week. Later.
Later.
So what are you guys doing now?
Nothing. Hanging out.